Student code of conduct does apply to them, whether they're physically on our campus or whether they're participating in a study abroad or another Monmouth University sponsored program. A lot of times students really think of the code of conduct applying to alcohol laws and things like that, but it really is all of your behavior. And when you talk about alcohol, I would keep in mind the fact that most of our other violations that we find students commit are related to alcohol. So although it may be perfectly legal for a student to consume alcohol in those other countries, they need to be mindful of the level of consumption, because oftentimes our other code of conduct violations, such as damage, such as fighting, things like that, are often also related to a student's use of alcohol. If you do choose to consume, and it is legal for you to do so, the other behaviors that sometimes come along with consuming alcohol that would fall under our student code of conduct. I also think it's important that students realize the resources they have if they're having a problem with another student. That we do expect for our statement on interpersonal violence or our statement on civility, all would apply to a student whether they're on our campus or off our campus. If you ever have an issue that arises, to use not only your resources at your host campus has resources for you, staff that are there to assist you, but you can also turn to the staff through our study abroad office, that if a problem is arising, that you go seek some assistance before it becomes a problem. I think one of the important things is for them to always remember the fact that they are always representing Monmouth University, and that this is a wonderful opportunity that they're taking advantage of. And one of the reasons we have these wonderful opportunities is the fact that our Monmouth students have had such wonderful experiences at these other schools, and these schools have had great experiences in hosting our students. They are going to be viewed as a Monmouth University student while they're on these host campuses, and that their behavior isn't going to just reflect them as an individual, but it's also going to be seen as a reflection on Monmouth University as a whole, so that they keep that in mind and they maintain that reputation for the university so that other students can follow them and have these same opportunities available to them. I think that one of the most important things, and I think that Chief McElrath always stresses this, is to keep the number of the Monmouth University Police Department in your phone. That's a wonderful resource for our students, that they can always get in contact with somebody at the university. The university can then make other contacts.
There's a bit of a sense of loss in that adjustment period because you're leaving behind what's familiar and moving into the unknown. So that can create some sadness. Does everybody experience it? I would say to some degree, yes. The first couple of weeks are usually pretty good, and then they start to even experience a little bit of culture shock in the new surroundings. So there are a couple of things that are helpful to students. Realize that this may happen, so that it's not totally unanticipated. And therefore normalize it a little bit, certainly looking at degree, but really identifying safe people, perhaps friends with whom they can speak, an advisor that they can go to just talk to them about homesickness a little bit, and then really make a decision to confront the homesickness, which again is normal, and do things like getting involved in something, visiting the country, trying to participate a little bit more so that things begin to seem a little bit more familiar. Students who may be taking any type of medication, they really need to have a conversation with their provider, take a look at how much medication they're going to need, and figure out how they can address that issue while they're abroad. Medication will not be readily available for them when they're abroad. Even the issue of accessing a pharmacy abroad is going to be different. There are some countries where pharmacies, contrary to the United States, where there's always something that's open 24 hours a day. In Europe, that's rare. I mean, ultimately, yes, you could go to a hospital and have a conversation, but to find an open pharmacy that can address your need immediately is going to be difficult. Find out about the system. Don't assume that it's going to be, you're going to walk out, you're going to say, excuse me, where's the closest pharmacy? And you're going to find one. For students who are on medication that requires daily dosing, definitely have the conversation with the doctor ahead of time, and I'm talking months ahead of time. What do I do on a daily basis? How much of that is essential in terms of being recreated in my host country? And what will I need to do when I get there to find a balance? For a lot of young adults, it's going to mean finding a partner, finding a buddy, so that they can share the good, the bad, and the ugly, because there's going to be a little bit of all of that. That's probably the first thing. Then prepare yourself for the change. You're going abroad to have a different experience. You're not necessarily going abroad to recreate your experience here. You can't be naive, and I'm sure Chief McElrath will talk a little bit about this as far as safety abroad is concerned, but you have to assume that it's your job to keep yourself safe. So, the same way that you're looking for a buddy, be somebody else's buddy, so that, you're looking after one another. Moving to another country, they'll experience a lot of things that they didn't anticipate, even if they prepare. So I think the best thing that one can do is kind of expect the unexpected and understand that even when something comes at you from left field, even abroad, there will be people who will help you get through it. Ironically, a lot of the anxiety that you experience going over will be experienced when you come back to the United States.
Some of the same safety techniques that you would use overseas are the same safety techniques you would use here. What I found more difficult than driving on the left side of the road, because you're in a car and you are very careful when you're in a car, is just walking in countries where drivers drive on the left side of the road. Our natural tendency is, as we walk up to a corner, is to always look to the left for cars coming. And cars come from the opposite side of the road, and it sounds like it shouldn't be much of a problem, but it is a big problem. As you walk to a corner, you look to the left, and actually the car is coming up to you from the right-hand side, and if you're not careful, you could be struck by a car. It's very easy to have that happen, and it happens often. You want to remember to lock your doors. You want to remember to be aware of your surroundings. When you go overseas also, you don't want to try and look like a tourist. You want to dress down if that's possible. Probably the most important thing that I could tell people to do when they're overseas is to be careful when you're drinking. Be careful simply because, again, the same things that'll get you in trouble here with alcohol are going to get you in trouble overseas, except oftentimes you can be a lot more trouble. If you're going to a club, you want to go with your friends. You want to watch out for each other. You want to watch each other's drinks, especially women. Again, watch each other's drinks. Don't leave unattended drinks in bars or in places where you may have a drink. But take care of each other. It's what our recently retired president of the university always said. He requests our students watch out for each other. And that's what our students should do when they're overseas, is take care of each other. Well, the first thing, obviously, if they're in any trouble, they want to have programmed into their phone the local police department. How do they get in touch with the police department? The other thing they want to have programmed into their phone is the Monmouth University Police Department. I like to say this: the only phone number that you can guarantee having somebody pick up at the other end, that you can absolutely guarantee somebody picking up and getting you the help you need, is the Monmouth University Police Department. Whatever your problem may be overseas, if you reach out for our dispatch center will start the process of doing what is necessary to get you the help and assistance that you might need. Drug laws are always going to be different. In most cases, it seems, the countries that our students are going to, the drug laws are more severe. So what may land you in a little bit of trouble in the United States could land you in a lot of trouble in an overseas environment. If you choose, and certainly we don't encourage it, but if you choose to participate in something like that, you want to be aware of what you're getting into, and the penalties are much more severe overseas, and it can impact you much more negatively than that same offense being committed in the United States. So what I recommend is really to stay away from it for your own health and safety. You represent our school, you represent the United States of America, and we are there as guests visiting another country. So again, go overseas, participate, enjoy yourself, but just use good common sense, and we'll see you when you get back.
Greetings, future study abroad students. This is Chris Hirschler, Faculty Director of Study Abroad. This video will conclude with my 4 top tips for a safe and amazing study abroad experience. Buy the book Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Read it before and during your time abroad, and live by it. Studying abroad might be the best time of your life, but whether it is or not depends a lot on you. Be grateful for the opportunity, even when you might wish something were different. Begin to learn about the culture, politics, and places you want to visit as soon as you can. Protect yourself. Intoxication can make you vulnerable to being the perpetrator or victim of a sexual assault. Limit or avoid alcohol, watch your drinks, have a buddy, and learn self-defense. Watch Fierce and Female and other videos on self-defense and practice the techniques. Following all of these steps will serve you well during your time abroad and throughout your life. Enjoy. Bon voyage.